Hey, 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 this is Seagrove, and today I'm here with Kaleb Sommers, who just won a regional with Sableye Garbodor. Caleb, why don't you give us a quick introduction to yourself and your history in the game?
Uh, I'm Kaleb Sommers. I'm from Denver. I've been playing since Ancient Origins. Uh, yeah, this is my first season taking it competitively, and I'm sitting at 504 championship points.
Okay. Have you had any other success at regionals?
This year I had a top 64 in Dallas and a top 128 in Collinsville.
Okay, very cool. So, why don't you take us through the list pretty quickly and just talk about any card choices that you might find interesting.
Okay. So this is my Sableye list. Uh, a big thing that's important to me with this deck is consistency. So that's why there's two Shaman, one Lele, uh, four Trainer's Mail, four Ultra Ball, four Sycamore. Uh, I just think this deck really needs to keep going
Yeah.
so it doesn't get blown out of the water. Uh, so the how I approached this deck with deck building was I need to be able to shut down Zoroark. So that's why there's two Garbotoxin, Garb, and three Float Stone, because shutting off their trades is really important.
Yeah.
Um, I bumped it up to two E-Hammer to beat them. Uh, but other than that, uh, I'm running a lot of one-of items like Battle Compressor. Uh, Battle Compressor helps me get my one-of supporters in the discard pile
Right.
so I can start using them earlier.
Mm-hmm. Did,
Lets me I don't have to use my Professor Sycamores as late into the game because I can get stuff into the discard pile earlier with that.
yeah.
Counter Catcher is the next card. It's super good card for this deck because you're rarely taking prizes,
Yeah.
and so you can Flare Grunt and Counter Catcher in the same turn. Red card gets his Counter Catcher, anything you want. Um, and that's a really important effect for this deck.
For sure.
Uh, Next card is Crushing Hammer. It used to be four, now it's down to two because there's not as much basic energies anymore.
Yeah.
Not as many Max Elixir decks like Turbo Dark, so that does well enough. One Field Blower, super good card. I only need three puzzles in here, because I'm junk hunting for them so
Right.
much. Um,
Did you ever prize two?
uh, Not in this tournament. I
Okay.
did in Dallas. At one game in Dallas, I prized two puzzles, two Floatstone, two VS Seeker, which
Solid.
are all very important cards.
Right.
Uh, so I was glad to be playing the Gladian in that situation. But yeah, three puzzle all you need. Super Odd is the most important card in the deck, um, because I don't like to deck myself out.
Right.
Uh, to complement that, I have three dark energies instead of most people who play four blends and two dark, but just having the three dark so that I can always shuffle them back in with Super Rod uh, really adds some utility. But if my opponent's ever consistently Getsising me or inning me out of my puzzles, then I have to use my Professor Sycamores a lot later in the game,
Right.
uh, which makes it so I have to really keep on top of uh, not decking out. Two Trek Shovels, really important. Uh, the pretty much the game plan with this deck is to uh, get them in a dead board state with a dead hand, and then use trick shovels to look at the top card of their deck. If it's a card that they can't use, you leave it on top, and if it's a card that they can use, you discard it. So I've had a lot of turns where it's play one or two trick shovels, junk hunt for them back immediately, and then they draw pass, and it's my turn again.
Yeah.
Another card is red card. This is I just put this card in before the tournament, so I probably only had like 5 or 10 games with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew I didn't want to play Pokemon Ranger anymore. But I was really surprised about how good it was. Just being able to red card gets this, Flare Grunt away their energy, and then red card, and do that over and over until they find themselves with a dead hand. Getting it turn 1 is super good. Yeah, it was super valuable. Then Parallel City, I like to bounce my Shamans and Lele. Also reduce the damage from stuff like Greninja and Seismitoad, because if you parallel yourself to 3, then Greninja can't Moonlight Slash for the knockout. They can only do 60 damage. So that was a cool play I got to do against the 3 Greninja decks that I played.
Oh, wow.
Delinquent gets this. You have to choose, or if you're trying to get them into a dead hand, both these are really good. You kind of have to try to get a read on their hand when you use Getsus. Gladion, I don't know if I'd be playing this deck without it, because you can't. Yeah, you need a lot of these cards.
Yeah.
One Guzma, standard card. One in, putting them to one hand card, wins me a lot of games. For Sycamore for consistency. Flare Grunt is another really important card in the deck. I Gladioned for it like 3 or 4 times throughout the tournament.
Okay.
Skull Grunt is a card that I don't see other Sableye Guard players using. I think it's really neat. It's another read-based card. It's also really good against Greninja, because they put the water energy back into their hand, and then you Skull Grunt and get it out of there.
Right.
So that's a personal preference card. And then we have Life Dew. It's a busted card in this deck. I will say a lot of Sableye players, newer Sableye players, will go for it early, or go for it way too often, and that's not good, because you have to be getting back your Sableyes and energies, and so it's a lot of time it's just better to get a card that'll make it so they can't kill your Sableye, instead of making it so if they kill your Sableye, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
But still a really good card. Then 3 Blend, so I can Trash Lanch. And
how often did you go in with Trash Lanch?
Not too much.
Okay.
I did it, and that's how I won both my top 8 and top 4 matches, is with Trash Lanch.
Okay.
Because time is a big problem with this deck.
Yeah. For sure. So you said you wanted to do a quick report. Did you want to do it going through every round, or did you want to just spend a little bit more time on some highlighted rounds?
Yeah, highlighted rounds, and I'll just say how many of each deck I played against.
Okay.
So I only played against one Zoroark the whole day.
Oh, wow.
Or both days, and I lost to it. the most popular deck in the format. But it's not that bad of a matchup. It's but they can red card and gets us away their whole hand, and yeah, it makes it really tricky.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not that bad. But I played against three Greninjas. Um, I don't think I lost a single game. Yeah, I didn't lose a single game to Greninja, and yeah, all of my opponents thought it was a pretty good matchup for them,
Oh,
but
nice.
didn't turn out to be. Um, I played against three Gardevoirs, um, dropped one game, and that was to Travis in top four.
Okay.
Um, let's see, three Buzzwoles, all these decks that I wasn't expecting to play against. Um, Tied against Rahul Reddy with it. Uh, I beat Marlin in top eight with it. So I just trash lynched a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And then my round nine opponent, I don't think he was playing Elandris, which is the one Pokemon that isn't weak to Psychic.
Yeah.
So I took six prizes both games just with trash lynch.
Nice.
Um, so that was a fun time. I also played against, let's see, two Drampagarbs.
Okay.
I didn't drop a game. That was against Joe Redinger and Azul Garcia.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay, players.
yeah, both good players. It's a layup of a matchup, so it was kind of fun to style on them a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about all I played against.
Okay. And were there any specific matchups or rounds that were more interesting that you wanted to talk about?
Um, so in top four against Travis Nunlist, he's playing Gardevoir. He didn't write, or he had a deckless error, so he had three extra fairy energies,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew that, and I wasn't very excited about that, because my deck does not like it when you play your energy cards. Um, and all three games he started a two retreat cost basic, so Giratina, Sudowoodo, and then Oranguru, and this deck just loves to trap something like that in the active, and so that was pretty fortunate.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I won game one, he won game two. Game three, I got a really early lock on him where I was just playing my trick shovels, giving him dead cards. So he had six prizes left when time was called, and so on my turn zero, I junk hunted for cards that let me Guzma, Palele, and Trash Lynch for two prizes,
Okay.
which would have, which, and if he wouldn't have been able to respond to it, I would have won because just taking prizes in game three makes it count. So yeah, he couldn't respond to my Trash Lynch, and I won a really cheeky game three.
Nice. What was your overall record on the day, or on the for the tournament?
So I was 7-1-1 day one, and then 2-0-3. So that's 9-9-0-4 or 9-1-4. No, I don't remember. It's 9-9-1-4 and then the three, so that's 12-1-4, I think.
So that Zoroark was your only loss.
Yeah.
Nice. um. So, question about the deck going forward. Are there any changes before the new rotation? Are there any changes that you wish you had made, or do you feel like it was the perfect 60?
Um, I definitely don't think it's the perfect 60. It was the perfect 60 for me that tournament.
Okay.
But another flare grunt would be really nice.
Yeah.
other players might try to counter this deck with uh, an increase of Trevenant Break. So in that situation, I could play a Latios.
Right.
Um, or if they start putting Toad again into Zoroark, then I'll put the Ranger back in.
Right.
But other than that, I don't
Okay.
see too many things to change out.
So even going forward into the next set, you wouldn't really make too many changes.
Um, no, I can't think of any of those cards that I'd want.
Do you think you'd still play it going into a buzz dominated format?
Uh,
Do you think you should still play
maybe
it going into a buzz
should I
dominated?
still play it? Probably not. I mean, I will still play it. I didn't think it was that great a call for this tournament. Uh, I just played it to have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Um, but it's always a great call if you're trying to have fun. Let me leave it at that.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else you wanted to mention before we end? If not, do you have
I
any
think
shout
that's all.
outs? Okay, do you have any shout outs or
Oh,
anything you want to give?
shout outs to all the Colorado players. Um, yeah, they're a great group of guys. Have a lot of fun with them. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, appreciate your time and congratulations on your awesome run. And I'm sure you had a lot of fun in your tournament. So,
For sure.
you're going to be going to Worlds?
Yeah,
All
I'll
right.
see you all at
Great. Thank you.